When Jani was 3, we started to notice that she was isolating from the other kids. Jani wanted to play with her imaginary friends more than she wanted to play with her real friends.
Jani was diagnosed at 6 with schizophrenia.
It was like we were entering this dark tunnel, and I was scared.
I felt terrified that I was going to have to watch her slip away.
Jani sees things, she feels things, she hears things that other people don't.
I know that she's hallucinating when she will look up towards the ceiling with her eyes locked on something.
Jani has probably over 100 animals, numbers, and people in her world. According to Jani, they all exist in a place called Calalini or Roxy. Some of the hallucinations tell her what to do and how to act.
What about 400?
Oh, yeah, we have a problem with 400, yeah. 400, the cat will scratch Jani if she doesn't do what she says. 80, and I believe 80 is a person, who tells her to jump off buildings.
Blink is Jani's pet.
Blink is a beagle, and she's had him for about a year now.
He is along with other dogs.
Who does?
Blink.
Where is he?
He's right here.
What scares me is I don't know what kind of power they have over her.
Part of schizophrenia is violence.
It got to the point where being hit and being kicked and being bitten and scratched, that was just part of being Jani's dad.
Her imaginary friends will tell her to do things like hurt herself or hit Bodhi.
I never know if she's suddenly going to pick up a pencil and shove it in her ear.
Take me through the first day that you realized this child has had a visual hallucination.
Well, Jani and I would take our dog Honey up to the local elementary school to let her run around after school was out. Some kids on bikes rode into the playground, and Honey started trotting towards them, and I called out, it's okay, she doesn't bite. And then Jani suddenly yells out, "Be careful of Wednesday, she can bite you." And the kids immediately react thinking that Honey is Wednesday. Wednesday the rat. So, and I get upset with Jani. I said, "Jani, Wednesday's not real. Wednesday cannot hurt them." And she says, with complete seriousness, she says, "Yes, she can. She can hurt them in their head." And that was really the first time.
Okay, but that's interesting because she was able to make the distinction. This rat's in my head, it can be in their head. What was the first?
She knew before we knew.
It's like that moment in, what is it, Poltergeist, they're here. It was it's very disturbing.
It's what people would have called, The Exorcist and all of that stuff. It is that, but there's a name for it. It's schizophrenia. Our lives revolve around the kids. Let me see.
Susan and I almost never get to talk. We almost never get time alone.
It's put a strain on our marriage.
I very nearly had an affair. I met a girl. I thought she was everything that Susan was not. We did kiss.
I was shocked. It came out of nowhere.
I was looking for somebody to make me forget who I was and what I had lived through.
What hurts the most is that I had trusted him.
I betrayed Susan. I hope she doesn't hold resentments.
I guess I forgive him, but I don't forget.
You say at times that you just hate him, and you say there are times that you just hate her.
That's true, but we have empathy for each other because we're both going through the exact same thing. So as much as I can hate him, and I do, I still empathize.
Sometimes I deserve it.
Let me interject here, because there are a couple of things that I just feel a need to share with y'all. One thing that I'm sure the audience will notice is that both of you are very prolific talkers. And what we see Jani, who has limited impulse control, is just kind of like, bleh, it's just out there.
Genetics.
And then talking to the two of you, both of you are just, bleh, it's out there. And,
That's true.
And I guess you have so much stimulation that you don't seem to notice that he's talking full time. I mean, he's just totally in the middle of an intricate story, and you're telling one in parallel to it, both at the same time. And so, do you notice that you both talk very fast and at the same time?
Actually, I didn't know.
I knew I did.
Did you guys notice that? Yeah.
I know I do.
Yeah, okay, good. But so my point is that, as you said, genetics, I mean, there may be some of that is transmitted there. But on a very serious note, let me say to the two of you, it's a gift to the children if you commit to structuring a way that both separately and together you can have some time to recharge your batteries, because if you think you won't become emotionally bankrupt, if you think you won't get to the point where you just are burned out and have nothing else to give,
Absolutely.
You will.
You're right.
So
No, you're right. 'cause
You're absolutely
I've
right.
been there a couple times.
You truly
Yeah,
have to do that. And then the second thing I
Yeah.
wanted to say is that we truly are making great strides in understanding what underlies a lot of the behaviors that you're seeing. And so there may be some hope on the horizon that can lessen your load, but you've got to take care of yourself.
I agree.
Until then, or you'll wind up burned out. All right. Thank you for letting us into Jani's world, though.
Okay. Thank you, Padlet. I appreciate it.
Ashley's schizophrenia showed up at a very young age. The first time I experienced Ashley having hallucinations, she was 8 years old. Ashley saw Jesus on a horse, seen a woman come out of her laundry basket, dead people in an orchard.
When I see something, it's extremely scary, like a zombie, a severed body.
Ashley's been prescribed so many things, and she'll take some and stop. She doesn't like the way they make her feel. She does not want to deal with her mental health issues. She started self-medicating with marijuana, then started drinking. She took ecstasy, pills.
I have a daily heroin habit I have to use every day.
My relationship with my daughter is so sick. I've enabled Ashley. I've taken her to the drug dealers before. I've given her money. I'm loving her to death. My relationship with my daughter is very strange at this moment.
We explode on each other because there's so much guilt and hatred and just sickness. It's completely unhealthy.
Okay, well, thank you all for being here. And you've been watching the show up till now.
Yes, we have.
So you saw what we've been talking about with a young girl, that you've experienced a lot of the things that she experienced earlier in your life.
Yes.
When you heard us describing her world and what was going on, you understood that completely, right?
Yeah, I related a lot to her.
And you saw different things when you would have hallucinations. Tell us in some detail what you saw.
Mine are more demonic or morbid. They put a lot of fear into me. It'd be like severed bodies that can crawl on the ground or on the walls and ceilings, and they'll come at me.
How often do you see these images now?
Now it's about once or twice a month.
And when there's stress or pressure or something happening, does that make it more so?
Yeah, I do really well when I'm away from my family, and the second I get near my family or my mom comes into my life, like I seem to regress a little bit more.
Frankly, you have been very forthcoming, Lisa, and willing to talk about whatever if it gets to a solution.
Whatever it takes.
But you made some real mistakes early on.
Yes, I did.
And I think you've made some real mistakes real recently too, and I want to talk about that.
Okay.
But early on, you saw hallucinatory behavior in her as early as 7, 8, 9 years of age, right? You still would drop her off at some drug house and go off and do something.
I did. I know.
What was your thinking, or were you thinking? Did the drugs have that bad of a grip on you?
The drugs did have a really large grip on me, and I thought I was taking her to a family's house but they did drugs. They had children there. I thought it was safe. How safe that was, obviously it wasn't.
How do you feel about your mother for exposing you to that at that young age?
I didn't get a childhood. I feel like it was completely robbed of me. And now I'm expected to just be thrown out and know what to do and not have the right to heal from anything. And it's a lot to handle. It's a lot of stress.
And you have, do I understand this right? You have actually taken her to get heroin.
I have in this past week. Yes, I have. In my mind, I had to do what it took to get her to the next day. Did I like it? No. Did I tell her? I'm so against drugs. You wouldn't know it, but I really am. I'm against drugs. I'm against everything that they stand for and what they've done for
Actually,
her.
I do believe that because I think you've seen what it's done to you and what it's done to your family. So you're saying you did this because you were afraid that A, she would go into a really bad withdrawal,
Absolutely.
B, she would run off,
Absolutely.
and you wouldn't be able to get her here,
Yep.
that the whole thing would spin out of control.
Yep.
So you were putting a Band-Aid on
I
this
was.
till you could get through that day, get her here, get something where you had a chance to do something worthwhile.
I put aside my values and what I thought was right or wrong just to get her through.
Emma's father got an emergency petition
Right.
to get custody of the child.
Right.
When you are couch surfing, when you're flopping in these drug houses or wherever you can find, where's your daughter?
When I had my daughter, I was at my mom's house and I was fully there.
So far, you've never taken her to some of the places your mother took you.
Completely separate. Like I'm trying to break that cycle.
Okay, but you do understand that you have an addiction to heroin.
Yes.
And you do understand that if you get backed into a corner where you are in withdrawal and that drug is calling you and you need that next hit, you need that next fix, that your ability to make rational decisions will be hugely compromised.
Right.
And you are subject to doing something and rationalizing it in your mind and putting your daughter in harm's way.
Right.
You get that intellectually.
Yeah.
Now, you know, oh, I would never do that. And you know you wouldn't do it now sitting here.
Right. Like I know that.
Have you taken drugs today?
No, I haven't.
When
Today
was the
I
last
haven't.
time you had heroin?
Yesterday.
And now you're going to go to court tomorrow
Right.
on heroin.
No.
No,
That's
yes.
why I have Suboxone.
Oh, but it'll be, listen, this is affecting your brain for a long time before you're detoxed. You're on heroin when you go there tomorrow. If you took it last night, you're on it when you go there tomorrow.
see, yeah.
It's in your brain, it's affecting you.
Right.
So you have a psychotic diagnosis and an addiction to heroin, and you're going to petition the court to turn your child over to you.
No, I'm going to probably, I'm going to see what the mediator is going to put out on the table for me because right now I'm in the position and I want to get help. And I really understand right now, today, I can't take care of anybody until I get better. I know that now. Going to jail and doing this whole cycle, and it's insanity. And it's like insanity on top of insanity because I'm already not well. And to add everything on top of each other is it's not healthy for any 4-year-old. You know?
If you want to be in that little girl's life long term, you need to straighten her mother out. You got nowhere to live. You can't even stay on meds regularly because you never know where you're going to be or what's going to be going on or whatever. And then you get addicted to heroin and that's calling you. We've got to start unraveling this. You need help and treatment for that, and I'm going to offer it to you. Would you like to do that?
Definitely. Thank you so much. Like I didn't even know there was a place that offered all of that together. I'm really scared.
Well, and that's okay. We're going to say goodbye here, then go backstage and let you just sit down and decide what you want to do and how you want to do it. Okay? Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.